This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Friday, the 18th day of May in the year 2018. Here's what we're tracking. 2 gunmen were shot dead today during a robbery attempt at a grocery store on Durban Street. One of the men was shot dead inside the store while the other was chased and shot by the police as they were engaged in a shootout. The 2 dead men have been identified as 26-year-old Trevor Barrow and 27-year-old Calvin Edwards. The incident occurred just after 10 o'clock this morning as the rain was pouring in the city. The 2 men reportedly gained access to the store through an open back door and demanded money from the owners. It is suspected that the owner of the business place, who is a licensed firearm holder, may have first engaged the gunmen. A policeman on a motorcycle was close by and his attention was reportedly drawn to the business place as customers were seen running out. He engaged the men in gunfire. One of the men bolted from the scene and was eventually cornered in a house with gunshot injuries as his escape bid failed. He later died. At the grocery store at Guyana and Durban Streets, family members of one of the dead men were left in shock and screamed out in anguish on sight of his body. Investigators spent several hours at the scene questioning the employees and managers of the business place. Investigators appear convinced that the robbery was not planned and may have been random. Let's tell you now that the Guyana government has disclosed that it is examining options for the establishment of a national oil company here, even as efforts continue to ensure that oil production commences as planned in 2020. Even as Natural Resources Minister Raphael Trotman prepares to hand responsibility for the sector over to the Ministry of the Presidency, he believes setting up a national oil company will be good for Guyana.
We believe that we could have a series of modular offshore bases from Berbice through Demerara and into Essequibo so that different regions get a chance of being able to develop along with Demerara. And as has been announced, we are establishing a Department of Energy and we are in the process of finalizing the design for that department.
Mr. Trotman made a disclosure today while making a presentation to the Parliamentary Sectoral Committee on Natural Resources. He said the government has received advice on this project, with some of the advice indicating that the project should be pursued, while on the other hand, the government has received advice in the negative. And still with natural resources, the Minister of Natural Resources, Raphael Trotman, also defended the government's move to delay the release of oil blocks given to the ExxonMobil company in its concession offshore Guyana. He told the Parliamentary Sectoral Committee on Natural Resources today that the government decided to keep that concession granted to Exxon in 1999 intact in the interest of national security.
We took a decision in 2015 to update the agreement with Exxon. As I said, it was not a renegotiation, it was an update of an agreement. We recognize, 1, the sanctity of the agreement. We recognize, 2, that the agreement was based on strategic reasons, and those strategic reasons and concerns did not diminish after the discovery in 2015. They did not disappear. In fact, I would say they deepened because Venezuela strengthened its claim against Guyana. It was important, therefore, that we see everything done in that context.
According to Trotman, the threat from neighboring Venezuela to Guyana's oil-rich waters has not diminished, and Exxon has stood up and remained while other companies shied away from going too close to Venezuela. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.